General Certificate of Education Ordinary Level Examination. Discussion of past exam questions. And O-Level 34, OL34 channel brings you the science paper discussions. Within 15 minutes you can take on these simple questions, and within a short period of time we will discuss these answers. Today's plan is to discuss the paper from 2015. We will take on paper 1, 5 questions from question number 1 to question number 5. Also from the paper 2 we will take question number 1. If you haven't subscribed the OL34 channel yet, press the subscription button. Also get notifications, you can press the bell icon. How do we take these lessons, or how do we do these lessons actually? O-Level 34 YouTube channel is allocated to discuss the papers, and also from Sinhala medium and English medium you can see these videos. Second fact, when we take one video, in one video we will discuss 5 MCQs and 1 essay question. Therefore, when taking one video you can see only few questions here. And the other fact is, when we are taking one question, there is a background to that question. We will discuss the whole background and the relevant content. Therefore, this will be a revision for the ones who are doing the O-Level examination. And what you must do when taking on these lessons. Number 1, download the image of the question set from the link below. Freely provided from the link here. You can download that image or the question set from it. Second fact, you have to pause the video for a while, for about 10-15 minutes, to write the answers for the given questions. Thereafter, you can play the video back and check out your answers. So now itself you can pause the video and download the image and write your answers. Here, let's take on the first question. Paper 1, question number 1. What is the question? Which of the following plants is a non-flowering plant with seeds? There are 4 answers: cycas, neprolepis, a kind of fern, paddy and grass. The answer is cycas. If it is correct, give 1 mark. And let's go for an explanation. How did we take this cycas as the answer? Here, this chart shows the evolution history of the plants. The plants origin from the algae types, and they are the green microorganisms who started the photosynthesis. And algae then develop into very low level plants called mosses. Mosses need water to complete their life cycle, therefore they are not completely adapted to the terrestrial conditions. Then little bit developed form is the ferns type. They are completely terrestrial ones. And the tree type ones are the conifers. Conifers bear seeds, that is the special feature. And the flowering plants, the plants with flowers. And these are the most dominant plants at the present world. So when you take these things, mosses, and the ferns, they are non-seed plants. They don't produce seeds. But the conifers and flowering plants are seed plants. They have seeds, but conifers do not produce flowers when producing seeds. And mosses don't have a vascular system. That means xylem, phloem, tissue for transportation are not available in mosses types. But in the other 3 ferns, conifers, flowering plants, we can see vascular systems. And this is what we have to basically take. So how can we take this onto the question here? Non-flowering plants with seeds. There are 2 plants with seed, conifer types and flowering plants. But non-flowering one is conifer. Therefore, the answer should contain a conifer type answer or gymnosperm. Cycas is the gymnosperm given in this question. Neprolepis is a fern type. Paddy and grass, they are flowering plants. So let's move on to the question number 2 of the paper 1, question number 2. Select the answers which correctly give the scientific name of pea plant according to the binomial nomenclature. You should not keep this in your mind. All the answers are same. Pisum sativum is the name. Then how should we write it? That is the question. Answer is third answer. Pisum sativum written like this, and give 1 mark if that is correct. Here's the explanation. When taking on this binomial nomenclature, binomial means two name system. First rule is there exist two parts of a scientific name, and those parts are known as generic name and a species name. Therefore, generic name and a species name we can notice here. And the next feature is when we are writing the genetic name, first letter should be capital. According to this number 4, all the answers are correct. All are started from capital letter. And the species name start with small letter. Therefore, first two answers are wrong. They are starting with capitals. Simple letters. These two are correct. There is a third rule. What is the third rule? When names are handwritten, they are underlined or italicized when typed. Underlined. If I write this here, Pisum sativum here, I must underline it. But when printing, we print that with italic letters. Therefore, third answer is correct. And if you follow these rules, you can find the answer very easily. Question number 3 of the paper number 1. Question number 3. Which of the following is a non-living structure of a plant cell? Chloroplast, cell wall, Golgi body, ribosome. The answer is cell wall. Second answer. Give 1 mark if that is correct. Here's the explanation. Look at this plant cell. It has a regular shape because of the cell wall, and there are some organelles within it. What are the organelles which exist as the non-living components here? Here are the 4 organelles found in plants which are non-living. Vacuole, here you can notice the vacuole. This is a non-living structure. Cell sap, which is filled inside, that also a kind of non-living thing. And chromoplast. Chromoplast contain the chromosomes, and they are not the chloroplast. And chromoplast are the other one. And the cell wall, the answer of this question, cell wall. Cell walls are made of cellulose and lignin compounds. Remember it as an extra fact. So the answer is here. Just remember the non-living structures found in plant cells. Now move on to the question number 4 in paper 1. Here's the question. Number of premolar teeth on both sides of upper jaw of a healthy adult is? On both sides. Answer is 4. Number 2, you can give 1 mark if it's correct. Here's the explanation. See this mouth. Here at that lower jaw you can see the dentition of man, and here you can see 2 sharp teeth. We call them incisors, and this one kind of spiny teeth, that is the canine, and flat teeth, 3 flat teeth with 3 heads, they are the premolar, with 4 heads, that is molar. Therefore, if you take one side, 2, 1, 2, 3 is the number. Then if you say the other side also, 2, 1, 2, 3. Therefore, premolar teeth you can see 2 plus 2, that is 4. Same in the upper jaw as well. This is the dental formula of man. When talking about human dentition, we can see this. Incisors 2/2. We consider only one side of the mouth here, 2/2, and canines 1/1, and 3 molar 2 over 2, molar 3 over 3, likewise it comes. And paper number 1, question number 5. When a bottle of cinnamon oil is opened, the smell of cinnamon oil spreads in air. To which transport method does it belong? Mass flow, it cannot be the mass flow, osmosis, no evaporation, or diffusion. What is the answer? Answer is diffusion. And how can we explain this? Give 1 mark if that's correct, and this is the explanation. Diffusion process means if particles traveling from high concentration to low concentration. High concentration to low concentration. And that is the simple diffusion. If that diffusion takes place through a membrane, or if only small particles move like that, that is osmosis. Therefore, in this example, we can see opened cinnamon oil. And from that high concentration to lower concentration it spreads. The answer is diffusion. This is the end of the paper 1 discussions. Let's move on to the question number 1 of the paper 2. Normally question number 1 of paper 2 or structured essay question. This question number 1 is called integrated question because it is made of what it consists of biology questions, chemistry questions, and physics questions, and the ecology questions, environmental science also. That's why we call the first question as integrated question. So this is the question. The coastal area of Sri Lanka in the Indian Ocean is given in the following figure. This figure shows us there is a ship here and a few benches in that beach side. That means there are human activities in that area. Also the trees, coconut trees, bending towards the ocean. And let's see the answers based on this picture, the questions based on that picture. Then look at this paper 2, question 1a, part 1. As shown in the figure, coconut trees which grow closer to the coast bend towards the ocean as a result of particular trophic movement. Identify that trophic movement and write the stimulus relevant to that. Trophic movement is phototrophic movement. Stimulus is light or the sunlight. And you can give 2 marks for that, 1 for this and 1 for this. Here's the explanation for this. How did we take phototrophic answer here? Here are the different trophic movements. In first one you can see these flowers moving towards the sun or just bending towards sun. This is phototrophic. Towards sun, therefore positive phototrophic. Next one, this one, roots are growing towards the ground, shoot growing upwards. Therefore the stimulus here is the gravity. When it is growing towards the ground, positive geotrophic movement. If it is upwards, negative geotrophic. Third picture shows the roots growing towards water. This is hydrotrophic movement. Here this plant growing toward the host and stimulus is touch. This is thigmotrophic movement. And this is special one, the pollens from the flower traveling through this until they meet the ova, and the pollens find the path by chemical stimulus. Therefore this is chemotrophism. And 5 trophic movements: phototrophic, geotrophic, hydrotrophic, thigmotrophic, and chemotrophic. Now let's move on to the next question. Question 1a, part 1. This is the B part. The animals given in the table live in the Indian Ocean coastal area. State the phylum of each of those animals. Sea anemone, which belongs to the Annelidaria or the Coelenterata group. Ragworm is an Annelida. These are the answers. Give 2 marks, 1 for each. Give 2 marks. Here's the explanation. The invertebrates we can divide into 6 groups. 5 groups are included in our syllabus. What are the groups? First one, segmented worms or annelids. Ragworm belong to that. Second, the arthropods. And this is centipede, which is very similar to the ragworm. Ragworm is an annelid, but the centipede is an arthropod. Next one, this sea anemone belongs to the Nidaria group or Coelenterata. And these are echinodermates, and this is the mollusca. Sponges are here. The sponges are not included in our syllabus. They are for Annelida, Arthropoda, Cnidarians, and Echinodermata, the fourth, and Mollusca. These are the 5 categories which we have to learn under the invertebrates. Now move on to the next question, part 1A2. The valuable mineral ilmenite contains the sand of ocean. Out of coastal area, which coastal areas in Sri Lanka it's found? Normally they are found in the eastern coastal belt like Pulmude, Trincomalee and Milaveli. Also in southern belt like places like Kaluella we can see them. Why do we use ilmenite? Next question. Name an industry in Sri Lanka which uses ilmenite. Paper industry, paint industry and pigment production. And I am not going to explain it further because this is not relevant to the new syllabus. But if you have written the answers, give 2 marks for that. Now move on to the next question, third part of this question. Sodium metal is extracted from seawater. Name the method which is used to extract sodium metal and mention that. Sodium metal is extracted from sodium chloride compound. And what is the method of separating sodium and chlorine? Method is electrolysis or electrolysis of sodium chloride. We must do that because sodium is very active metal and very strong bonds it make with the non-metals, active non-metals. And therefore the reason is reactivity of sodium is very high or sodium exists as top of the activity series. And those are the things. And how do we extract sodium? Here's the setup. This setup is called down cell. Remember the names down cell. It has an anode and a cathode. Anode is a graphite anode, and the cathode is steel cathode. Steel. This the gas collection and the sodium collection take place in 2 different chambers. And down cells do not let chlorine or sodium to mix each other. And in this electrolysis process we use fused sodium chloride because we need to ionize sodium and chlorine by melting them. But at when melting that one sodium chloride has high melting point, sometimes that temperature will be corrosive. It will be corrosive to this steel cathode. That is, therefore we have to reduce the melting point. To reduce the melting point, we put calcium chloride or calcium chloride mixed with that. Very small amount of calcium chloride is mixed with the sodium chloride. And what are the chemical process take place in this down cell? Sodium ions, they obtain electrons from this cathode, and by obtaining electrons the sodium ions become sodium metal. Obtaining electron is the cathodic process, or this is the reduction. And chlorine, it removes electrons to become chlorine gas. Actually chlorine gas made of 2 chlorine atoms, therefore 2 chlorine ions remove 2 electrons to become chlorine gas. Chlorine gas is leaving near the anode as a gas, and the sodium metal we can collect around the cathode. And how can we identify these equations? When sodium take an electron, it's gain electron, that is called reduction. Therefore, obtaining electrons, it's easy to remember: red reduction, cathode cat. And here it removes electrons, give off electrons, that is called anode and ox. Oxidation take place here, reduction take place here. So this is the explanation of electrolysis of sodium chloride. Now we can move on to the next question. Fourth part. Which type of mechanical waves do small water waves form in the surface of ocean belongs? Answer is transverse waves. Give just 1 mark for this. Explanation is this one. In longitudinal waves, we just vibrate the particles parallel to the direction of wave. Wave traveling here, it carries energy in that way. Vibration also occur along with it. These are longitudinal waves. In longitudinal waves, we can see rarefactions and compressions. And in transverse waves, we vibrate the particles up and down. Here the direction of the wave, and they are perpendicular to each other, and that's why we call them transverse waves. Water waves also occur like this type of waves. Therefore, the answer is transverse waves. In transverse waves, we can see crests and troughs here. Next, fifth question. A ship sailing in the Indian Ocean is shown in the figure. Its mass is 75,000 kilograms. And what is the upthrust acting on that? There are two concepts relevant to this type of question. First, we have to find out the weight of this object when mass is given. Equation is W equals mg. It is derived from the Newton's second law, F equals ma. Therefore, mass is 75,000 kilograms, and 10 meters per square second is the acceleration due to the gravity. An answer would be the 750,000 newtons. Also, we can write it as powers here. Then 750,000 newtons is the weight. This weight is equal to the upthrust. So here's the explanation. You can give 1 mark for this if the answer is correct. Anyhow, without method, if only answer is given, give that mark here. Explanation is this. The weight and upthrust, they are the same if an object is floating here. If this upthrust force can overcome the weight of the ship, then we can say the forces are balanced here. Therefore, if you can find the weight, it is the upthrust acting on the ship. Okay, let's move on to the next question here. Question number 5. Items made of iron having a small volume sink in water, but the ships made of the same material float on the ocean. What is the reason? Iron balls, they are sinking in water, but large ships are floating on water. How does it happen? And when explaining reason, you have to pay attention to these 3 facts. Number 1, to have large volume, the ship has been made with a large hollow. One fact. The upthrust on the ship is equal to the weight of the ship. If you included this 2 in the answer, then you can give 2 marks. And here's the explanation. According to the density equation, if the volume increased, then density decreases. And ships, normally iron has very high density, around 8,000 kilograms per cubic meters. Water has 1,000 kilograms per cubic meters. 8,000 is greater. Definitely iron must sink in water. but when increasing the volume we can decrease the density. Larger the volume, lesser the density. Thereafter, the upthrust created by the water must be equal to the weight to overcome that one. And if you included that two answers here, then you can have the full marks. Next, let's move on to the question number 6, part A and B. Pollution of water and its environment is major problem faced by our country at present. This is the ecology question. Mention two reasons for that. Two reasons. I will explain you more than two. Let's check whether you have written these answers. Mixing oils removed by the ships. That is one way of polluting the seawater. Using dynamites for fishing, it is an illegal thing, but when exploding dynamites in deep oceans, it will be harmful to the ocean and pollution take place. Industrial water being added to the seawater, that is the next one, from industries if seawater get polluted, and mixing detergent to the water from the waste water or the waste water from the washing comes with that one. And mixing agrochemicals with seawater. Agrochemicals usually comes through the rivers. When the agrochemicals get added to the rivers, once the rivers meeting sea, it occurs. Next one, polythene, plastic, garbage, fecal matters being added to the ocean. That's also another polluting method. Next one, breaking coral deposits. Coral protecting the beach sites. When breaking them, pollution can take place. Unauthorized constructions. The main reason for most of these things is these unauthorized constructions. When a hotel or an industry place nearby the ocean, lot of pollution easily can occur. There are 8 points I highlighted. If 2 are correct, ninth one is this one. The sand mining is the ninth one. And out of these things, if you try only 2 here, then you can have 2 marks. And part B states suggestion that can be implemented to conservation of ocean and its cost. Here, first one, protect the mangrove environment. It's important to protect the inner parts. Avoid unsystematic constructions, and also it should be governed or it should be controlled by the government. Releasing wastewater after purifying or the treatments before releasing, that is important. Banning sand from mining from estuaries. When the sand mining take place near the estuary, size of the estuary will bigger and it leads to the coastal erosion or the corrosion. And implementing rules and regulations. Rules and regulations already exist, but implementation is a problem. And there should be an actions to be taken to implement them to control the pollution and to conserve the ocean. Last one, awareness of the community. Aware in community. This is the most effective one if we can do successfully. If people do this by themselves, then very easily we can make zero this pollution. And 1 mark for that, only 1 point asked. If there are 6 points, out of these 6, if you have written only 1, then you can have the marks. This is the end of this paper, and total marks you can give now. There were 5 MCQs, 5 marks for that, and 15 marks for the essay question, altogether 20. Check out how much you gain this time and get ready for the next video here. Same year 2015 paper, we will do paper 1, question number 6 to 10, and from paper 2 we will take on the biology question, the question number 2. And if you gain something from this video, you can press the like button. Also you can put a comment below, and if that is valuable, just share it with your friends. Finally, subscribe the channel, keep subscription, then you can watch other videos as well. And the suggestions, concerns and feedbacks are much appreciated. Definitely If you think something, just type it below or drop them in the comment section below. And we can meet back from the next video. Till that, goodbye everybody.